Israeli Defense Forces say their warplanes conducted, quote, intelligence-based strikes on several Hezbollah command centers in southern Beirut today. They say the strikes were focused on an area known as an Hezbollah stronghold. The bombings come after intense strikes in Lebanon yesterday and as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu works to broker a ceasefire deal. Foreign correspondent Tom Soufi Burridge joins me live with the latest on that. Tom, what are you learning about these bombings in Beirut?
Yeah, according to the IDF, Diane, we know they hit Dahia, that's southern Beirut, that stronghold of Hezbollah. They say they put out warnings before conducting those strikes, but this follows a series of strikes over the weekend, Diane, especially on Saturday when the IDF struck central Beirut, killing, according to Lebanese officials, about 30 people, injuring dozens more. But there was also a significant return of fire on Sunday, Hezbollah launching 250 projectiles, drones and rockets into northern Israel, according to the IDF. So no sign that the war is calming down between Hezbollah and Israel right now.
So where do negotiations for a ceasefire stand right now, Tom?
Well, we know that President Biden's chief envoy to Lebanon, Amos Hochstein, was in Lebanon last week. He was also in Israel. U.S. officials were talking up the prospect of a deal. We know from Israeli officials there is the framework of a deal, but the detail still hasn't been worked out. And look, according to Israeli officials, they want more guarantees that if the ceasefire is broken once it's in place, they would, in their words, be able to respond. They also want Hezbollah fighters to withdraw further north across a key point, the Litani River, just north of the border with Israel. So look, at the moment, there's no sign that a deal is close, despite all of the positive rhetoric from U.S. officials saying that they're working in that direction and that the negotiation process continues. We know that top U.S. officials, Diane, are in Israel and Lebanon today.
And Tom, Iran's supreme leader says the International Criminal Court arrest warrants issued last week for Netanyahu and Israel's former defense minister were insufficient. He's now calling for death sentences. How significant is that, and how's Israel responding?
Well, I think that's predictable rhetoric from the Iranian regime, Diane. I don't think there's any surprises in terms of how Iran welcomes that ruling and its threats towards Israel. Look, Israel is threatening, again, of course, to keep Iran at bay in terms of that tit for tat. I was in Israel recently when Israel and Iran were trading very real volleys of fire. I think on the ICC ruling against Netanyahu and his former defense minister, Yoav Gallant, the problem for Israel is that it does, whether or not you agree with the ruling or not, it does isolate Israel further on the international scene. You think there are more than 120 signatories to the International Criminal Court, the UK, France, not the US. Of course, President Biden has called the ruling outrageous, but key allies for Israel in Europe, like France, from where I'm talking to you now, are basically in line, or at least saying that they would follow rulings from the ICC. So effectively means the leader of the Israeli government is not able to travel to key countries in Europe, and that in itself is pretty extraordinary. Diane?
All right, foreign correspondent Tom Soufi Burridge, thank you.